Hello again, this is Eckert for Billiard Network, and in our next tutorial, which is tutorial number 9 already, it's about potting balls again. We had 10, 20, 30 degrees and the straight shots, of course, right in the beginning. And in today's tutorial, it's about 40 degree shots, 50, 60 and 70 degree shots. So it's about thin cuts. And how you never miss a thin cut in the future anymore, right? If you stay on those advices we can give here, but that's the difficulty anyway. So here's our 40 degree shot. You will see the diagram somewhere, of course, how to set up the shot actually. It's between this half diamond here from the rail, on the third diamond, and the cue ball has again 3 difficulties on that line. It's here on the half diamond, then this difficulty, and then the expert difficulty, you know. And you can do a test out of it again. How many out of 4 shots can you make? 1 from here, 2 from there, and 1 from over there. But I will have a few words about how to practice, daily practice, and how to do this at the end anyway again. Let's start. And the first thing you should recognize is always, where does the cue ball goes naturally, right? And if the stop shot line will go into that rail like this, an outcome angle like this near the side pocket, then we know, when it's natural roll, I know from 45 degrees it will cross by 1 diamond, the tangent line, so it will be near that diamond. Almost straight out of the rail, I would guess, but it will cross a little. You see, almost straight comes out of the rail. And then you set up the next one, 2 shots from over here, and don't forget always to do your 7 steps again, right? Would be step 1, 2, building up the picture, 3, 4, 5. And 5 is the shot actually. And if you do it low right or high left, that's up to you how you're going to play it. Just don't scratch on it. But while practicing it, you should find out also things, right? Maybe the beginner practice it anyway, from that position preferably. The experts going more down to that spot, and intermediate here. But during practice, you should always try to find out, okay, where are the borders? If we got the tangent line here and the natural line there, then we can actually think about, okay, 1 tip size, 2 tip sizes, 3 tip sizes should be good enough to bring it maybe to the short rail. And during practice, you should try to find that out, give it a few tries. Maybe if it's extreme, you try better from there. But and if it's in a match, of course, you don't try to out the borders unless the situation forces you to. But let's see if we can get this with a lot of left side spin. You see, we can get it, but it makes the shot so much harder when you use a lot of side spin. That's why I recommend to practice it from here, but let me repeat this at least one more time. It was a little bit too full, so. And now it's too thin. Last try. So I did the right adjustment, but too much, obviously. This time I got it right, and so you continue. And let's make a little cut over here, and we will come back for the next shot. Before we now go to shot number 4, which is in accordance to the testing, the set test here. You will see the diagram and the rules in it anyway. But beside of that, I have to shoot it from there. Let's do that. And if it's a long shot like this, you don't really like to go for extreme side spins, either way, high left or low right. Low left wouldn't make sense here, right? So that's also something you can learn here. High, it's always like this cross pass. It makes sense to make a stop shot maybe, or to give a little outside spin to avoid any pitages or skids, bad contacts, or if you need that position, high left or low right if you want to go in that lower area. But if it's a long shot like that, you are happy with just potting it and go maybe for a more difficult position right after, unless you don't have no choice, of course, right? Missed it. So you set it up again. And then you just repeat. It was too full. If you stay concentrated, you just do on your second step, build up a clearer picture, how it goes in. And then aiming strong until okay. And the okay should be then a little bit thinner than before. Okay. Shoot, stay down and up. This is how you stay concentrated, okay? If you put quality in every step. And of course, in a match it's just one shot only. The first shot you're supposed to do. But I'm gonna have a word how you can train this first try to be successful on this first try also by putting more power, more quality into your training. Let's have a word later on, but here I want to fulfill the topic of, and I go closer for it, the topic of direction. So we saw a stop shot, natural roll, we saw 1, 2, 3 tip size, which is close to scratching. I don't know why, but I can pull out some quality here and hit the short rail even, but it would be risky, of course. And on the way back down here, and then of course, okay, we can talk about backslide draw shot only, but who makes a draw shot only if he want to go down here, right? Unless he want to stay there, but then 2 tip sizes might be okay. Just naturally, right? Naturally, 1, 2 tip sizes. But if you go for low anyway, +1, +2, +3, supposed to end up here, but that's not possible actually. At least I can't get it there directly, because if you play low, if you want to get that draw shot, you can't put up 3 tip sizes down there, right? There's only space for 1. So you have to pull out every kind of quality. What is stronger, the tip size or the draw shot? And here on 40 degrees, it's right on the border. If it's a very thin cut, of course, the tip sizes are stronger. And if it's a less degree shot, of course, the draw shot is stronger. But if it's right in between, hard to tell. So it's a matter of feeling, and that's why I want to encourage you to try that out, of course. So the tip size system here is just roughly, I will come maybe close to this, to that, maybe behind the second diamond. So, high quality draw and as much right side spin as you can get. Woo, I was very good here actually. Almost to the third diamond. And that's what usually the maximum is. Okay, and now the next topic will be our 50 degree shot, 60 and 70, and some more topics, of course, as well in the next scene. So here we are back. As you see, we switched the angle, we switched table sides because for that shot. And on 50 degrees, that's a 50-degree shot. You can get it easily if you just place the ball on the spot, head spot or foot spot anyway. If you place the cue ball with its outside line here, then you got approximately a 45-degree shot. But if you put it with its outside on this side of the diamond, then you got a 50-degree shot. And that's what we practice here. Of course, for beginners, they try this spot. It's just a diamond intersection, and that's the same if you go to the ghost ball. Then that's approximately the same angle, the same 50 degrees for this shot. And so it's about potting 50-degree shots. Of course, the procedure is the same. You just take a look here, right? Then you go down, and then you check and see, swing, step 4, right, until you feel comfortable and okay. Then it comes to shot, then you stay down, and then you find out, the cue ball is traveling down there. We're going to have an extra lesson, an extra tutorial on this reference line anyway, but some people wonder that we won't scratch here, because a lot of times people have difficulties with this ball. They're afraid of scratching there, even though there's no reason to be afraid, because the natural roll is, if you remember, here's the ghost ball, tangent line is over there, so yes, with a stop shot you might scratch, but if you just do it a natural roll just crosses the tangent line and you are pretty safe hitting the rail over there, okay? So, but if you want to make a stop shot or just play harder, then yes, there's a big danger to scratch, as you see, right? And but in accordance to our testing or practicing thing, we have to practice also anyway from that spot. There you can't give any spin or low or high. You just have to make the ball and practice it from over there, because it's a lot of times that this happens to us, right? Of course, if this is the final ball, the cue ball comes here across a position, it travels here, and we want to get this position, but it just won't stop, and it happens so many times that we are frozen to the rail, right? So either way, we have to avoid to get this position, or we have to practice this position, so we try to do both, of course. And in order to deal with this position, first, you don't need to be afraid to scratch there. This would only be the case if it's a little bit more thinner, but then you wouldn't attempt this pocket, you would go for that other pocket or bank shot. And then you can't draw, you can't play a stop shot, so you can be safe here. You can only scratch if you miss that ball about here. So let's just have a look at this ball. When you do that, the most important thing is when you attempt that shot is keep your cue here. Keep it straight in line. Don't drop your elbow or don't drop your shoulder. The elbow is okay, that's for the follow through, but don't drop your shoulder, right? Keep it in a straight line. That's most important, in my opinion, to make that shot. But let's hop to another scene here. Okay, and one reason, because we changed here also, of course, I could have continued with shots like this at 40 degrees and at 20, 30, 10, what we had over there, and go thinner and thinner, but this makes it even more difficult because the pocket is pretty far and the thinner it gets, it would make it just more difficult. And I wanna keep all balls at nearly the same difficulty at least, and to give you different examples of how to transfer our knowledge of direction. For example, a tangent line, how much we can get or cheat a tangent line by using a follow stun, backslide, replacement, this and that, and draw and follow, of course, and the spin, right? So this example, yeah, the stop shot goes over there, the natural roll goes over there. We can't go over there, right? As we know from our example here, from the 10 degrees, that so, and even though on 50 degrees here, we cannot break this, we cannot get there, unless we take a different pass somehow. So, or play a bank or something like that. And but where can we get when we draw? If this is the stop shot, of course we can still avoid the scratch by using a draw shot. That's what you can also practice. That's what you can also practice when you are in that shoulder position here. Okay, obviously not from there. But the point is why we practice this is also one advice, maybe a small advice, that you won't end up too many times over there is that you should try wherever your final ball was. Maybe it was like this, then you come more naturally into this, or if it's more like this, then you come like 2 rails into it. Then the cue ball comes in direction of the 11. But if you choose, for example, if it was a thinner ball and it comes down here, then it crosses. Then it crosses this position, so that's a cross position. And of course, if you have the possibility, it's not always possible, but if you have the possibility, you try to get a position which is going into the direction of the 11 and not crossing it. When crossing, this happens a few times, but I'm always thinking of if you have a pizza slice like this is the position zone, perfect position zone, right? Here would be nice. So it's like a piece of pizza here, right? And why do you end up on the crust so many times? I would try always in my mind to avoid the crust. Who wants the crust of the pizza? So that's my thinking sometimes, to avoid that. So I try to stay in this diamond zone in front of that. So anyhow, if ending up there, I give you an advice how to handle that. And we know where we can get there, draw. And of course, from that draw, we can change this a little bit also in this direction with spin. But how can we avoid, when we use a lot of right side spin, how can we, if we go naturally there, where can we end up when we go inside spin? Not much, as you see, right? Because this time we go with an angle into the rail. If we go directly straight into a rail, then the reference lines of the tip sizes with diamonds, right? This is powerful. But when you go with an angle into the rail, then it loses a little bit its power of reference. So that's what you can also try when you practice that shot. And don't forget, practice it on both sides as well. Let's have a look at the next scene on the 60-degree shot. Here we change the shot again to 60 degrees this time. And yeah, it's a little bit closer to the shots that we had before. But you see, it's getting thinner now, 60 degree. And you can get or see easily 60-degree shots on the table if you cross, like going from, you see, 2 diamonds to 4 diamonds, or 1 diamond and here 2 diamonds. That's like a 60-degree indication. And we know when we practice this shot, and you can do, of course, beginners can still get the same from over there. Say still a 60-degree shot, but more success for beginners. This is still quite okay, and better players can try it from over here. And I will show you also, if you go, for example, for this version, it's getting more difficult also, of course. But we don't have to deal with that. More important for us is where does the cue ball goes naturally. In a group, I can always ask, okay, prediction, where do you guess when you pocket that ball, where does the cue ball goes from alone by just rolling it? And interesting to see all the different answers, but if you practice it and you know, then you know it goes very close, straight out of the rail and hits the diamond. Depending exactly how much you cheat the pocket or not, and how hard you play, of course. Because if you play harder, then we know we come closer to the tangent line, which goes over there, from there slightly over there, so the stop shot might be closer there, and therefore when we shoot harder, it will be, any shot that we shoot harder will be closer at the tangent line. So from that point, then we know, okay, 1, 2, 3 tip sizes might still bring us to the short rail. So you can practice to make that ball also with a lot of side spin. And that's what you practice when you have thin shots. You have to practice them to pot them also with a lot of side spin, because when you go for a thin shot, logically you're going to hit a rail after that very soon, right? With less angle, not necessarily. And when you hit a rail, then spin is powerful on behalf of direction. So that's why you have to practice it. A lot of spin, using spin also on thin shots. And of course, just potting it is more important, but it would be powerful to know. And from there, you can differentiate. Okay, maximum is here, so if I want to get there, I can still get this by using just maybe a little bit less than 1.5 tip sizes. Maybe just a half tip size. And if we play low, then we know, okay, with 3 tip sizes, you cannot give so many tip sizes when we play low, like we got it from 40 degrees, but it should be okay to pass the side pocket. So this is like a reference spot for me, okay, with this 60 degrees on that diamond, I can, and with 1 ball size from the rail, I can still pass the pocket. So in a game, if you have this knowledge from some reference, then you know, okay, if it's a little bit closer here, I won't probably try that and be happy with this position. Or if it's easier, then you know you're very confident to come even over there. So that's what you can get out of this shot for that scene so far. So here we changed position again for our 70-degree shot. Looks, not so promising anymore, but that's to keep the same difficulty. We put it closer to the pocket. And here you see, out of the diagram from the book also, you can see it's 1 ball size away from the rail. And there you get, and if you put the cue ball, not in the center, but with its outside edge here, near the center, then you got your 70-degree shot. The first question to some students is, if you pot that ball, which is still okay to try, you don't need to play a safety if you have that shot. It's still a shot you go for, right? I would change my mind with 90 degrees probably, right? But at 70 you can still go for, and I ask, where does the cue ball goes naturally here? Good question, right? So let's find it out. And yeah, and the other thing is also step number 1 is a pretty long walk now. So that's why there are also some players in the opinion that step number 1, you got to know the angles. Not every player takes this step, but well, it's a recommendation, you don't have to. So step 1, step 2, picture down until you're okay. And then, whoops, and you miss. It was too thin, stay concentrated. If you are in the training part, if you're in a match, you just sit down. But if you're in a training part, you keep concentrated. Okay, it was too thin. You do the same thing like before, but this time the okay comes when you see it a little bit more solid, more full. And then you see, okay, the natural outcome is about here. And you will, if you practice this for a longer time, you will see, okay, if you cheat a pocket more thin, more thick, it can be almost up to 2 diamonds difference by cheating the pocket thin or wide, you know, left or right. And if you are that close to the pocket like this. And for the beginners, of course, this is a very difficult shot. But you can also set up a ball size from that rail. Same distance to the pocket, right? And then when you put the cue ball here, 2 diamonds distance on a half diamond here, then you got the same angle on that shot. And that's more interesting for beginners to practice, right? But from our point of view, what we have to deal is, okay, if this is the natural outcome, which is here maybe near the middle diamond, right? Which would be around here after half table lengths. Then we have to find out, okay, if this is naturally, if I put some right side spin on it, maybe 1 tip size, I wouldn't recommend that, it's close to scratch. 2 tip sizes, it would be shortly before the side pocket. 3 tip sizes, if you think outside the box and you see that, then you can come close to that diamond. That's what you can get here by using right side spin. So you can make sure to hit that rail. This is difficult, but yes, if you got the sensitivity, yeah, you can get this. You can also go naturally more like this. And on the other side, if this is naturally 1 tip size, 2 tip size, 3 tip size is very close to scratch. I wouldn't recommend that, but that's what we're going to have a look at the next scenes. So let's check it out then. Naturally was here, so that's naturally like a half diamond over there. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 tip sizes would be outside the box near that second diamond, so we use a lot of right side spin. Build up your picture softly. And not maximum, but pretty close, right? And so you can imagine if I hit a little bit thinner, I can still get this 3 tip sizes. So let's have a look on the other side with left side, which would be naturally 1 tip size, 2 tip size, 3 tip sizes near scratching, so not recommendable, right? Also, if this is 1 tip size, not recommendable too, because then you might scratch, big danger of scratch. So and imagine, you have a wide gap of 2 diamonds just by how you cheat a pocket. So even if you give on purpose to 1 tip size to get here maybe, right? Your point of error is like that, depending how you cheat the pocket. So that's something really to practice at. But like I said, even though it's difficult, beginners can practice this also on the other position I just showed previously. Now, left side spin. And now you can also imagine that playing just low or just high doesn't make a big difference in the outcome, right? That's what I mean. The thinner a ball gets, the more important gets the spin, the side spin. On a straight shot, it's in connection with follow and draw, in order that the cue ball reaches a rail and you can make direction changes there. But here it's not, doesn't help you much to play low left. It's more powerful just left, because on its side the cue ball is bigger than down there. On the 40 degree it still made sense, but here it's more center, maximum, left. Oh, that was incredibly good. So no scratch here, but like I said, I wouldn't risk too much, because there's a big danger of scratching there. So I hope you liked that tutorial so far, but I will give you one more hint before we come to an end. So, and for the last hint, or the last advice I want to give is, if we stay in our structure of our training, either way tutorial or the book, the structure book, you have the advice to practice as much as you want during the week, one time a week only. You make like a challenge, and maybe you make a documentation, how many out of 8 can I pocket? And you got one try only per week, which gives you this non-repeatable situation, right? During the week you can practice as much as you want, pretty free. And that's the opportunity for you to try all those extreme shots, right? Then it's about the documentation, where you have to hit as many as you can and make sure that you pot it rather than get any position. Then of course you use that side of spin, stop, or natural roll, which you are most comfortable in, to pot it, right? Like it's your last ball. And another advice would be to give your daily routine, or you shouldn't do it every day because it's very stressful, but to give your daily practice routine a little bit more spice, to make it more intense, is if you practice, for example, whatever ball you practice, the 10 degree, 20, 30, whatever you practice, make it your goal to play, okay, I practice this shot until I make 5 in a row. I won't finish before I gonna make 5 in a row, or 6 in a row, or 7, or 10, or 3. The number depends on yourself. What is your personal ability? Does your ability meets the goal you are setting? If you set too high, you have a big risk of getting frustrated, right? If you set it too low, you make it too easy for yourself, right? So you have to pick the right number, 5 in a row on this difficulty, 7 in a row on that difficulty. But if you pick the right number and you start always with number 1 until you make it, 2, 3, always alternating after each successful shot, only after successful shot, until you get to number 10 maybe, if this was your goal, like it was my goal back in the days, then it creates some pressure on the last shot, right? Because if you miss it, you have to start from beginning with number 1 again. So I exchange also. If I miss the 10 ball, then I put up number 1 again after that, until I work myself through maybe to get an opportunity on another 10 ball again. And this puts up, if you are busy with after 1 or 2 hours and you get maybe the 3rd or 5th time the final match ball in front of you, you got a big interest to make it. Otherwise you have to start from beginning also, right? And so this gives you, after succeeding, it gives you a real good inner feeling. It's like getting joy first class rather than easy fun or joy second class. Because here you worked harder to achieve that, and this builds up your confidence. It's way easier to practice until and see how many can I get, 10, 20, 30, because there you can't lose anything. It's just, let's see how many I can get. But if you set yourself a goal, I won't stop before I get this or that number, then you got this, you can win something or you can lose something. And set up the right number for yourself to give yourself a challenge. So I hope you liked the tutorial. This was Ralph Eckert for Billiard Network, and you're invited to leave comments and follow us for more tutorials coming up. Thank you very much.